republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just go take a roll, please.
Councilmember Franco? Here. Councilmember Cook?
Here.
Councilmember Fairley?
Here.
Councilmember Osborne? Here. And Councilmember Thomas?
Here. Thank you. Our presentation tonight, first will be swearing in of officers. I don't want to say that one.
You.
And
You and
Jordan.
All right. As promised, we have our two newest officers. As you guys know, Officer Brown left us a couple of weeks ago, and prior to that, on the first week in March, Officer Kling left us. Officer Brown went to a larger department. His wife decided to be a stay-at-home mom, and he had to make a little bit extra money, and so he was offered $100,000 and a $25,000 signing bonus to go up to see Des Moines. Officer Kling, she was not happy with some of the things here at the department, so she left to go to the city of Milton, and we wish her well. So with that, we have Officer Hugh Fenn, and we have David Gerard. So both are University of Washington grads. Go Dogs. So gotta put that out there. Hugh comes from the city of Bothell, and David comes from the city of Edmonds. I will tell you, both have been through the academy. As you know, I don't often hire people that have already been through the academy, but when I do get the opportunity to, I try to. One of the reasons I send people to the academy is we get total reimbursement after they've been with the city for 6 months. So not only do we get the costs that we incurred to send them to the academy, but we also get backfill that we had to pay to cover those positions in overtime. So it's covered by RCW 43-100-103, but there's a fund that was created for agencies 12 or less that allows us to do that. That's why I normally send. But tonight, we're here to talk about these two gentlemen. They both started their field training today. So we're going to let Jessica swear them in, and then I'll give them a couple minutes to introduce themselves.
Raise your right hand for me. Repeat after. I say your name.
I, David Jordan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant
to enforce the criminal laws
to enforce the criminal laws
of the state.
of the state,
That I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
in any matter
in any matter
on account of personal bias
on account of personal bias
or prejudice.
or prejudice,
That I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a law enforcement officer
as a law enforcement officer
according to the best
according to the best
of my skill,
of my
abilities,
abilities
and judgment.
and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So real quick, take a couple minutes, tell us about yourselves, tell the council, turn around.
Oh, yes. Hey, man. Okay. My name's David Gerard. I actually live in Snohomish, but I am really super happy to be working here. After meeting the chief, I've been kind of telling him, I don't think the chief knows this, but I had other agencies looking at me after speaking with the chief and kind of hearing his viewpoint of the way that an agency should be run. I actually told other agencies that I'm going to be putting on hold on the way to see what that goes and grab or not. I'm very excited that that's what happened. I'm very excited to hear.
Hey, so I grew up in South Seattle. I went to the academy with Officer Green, and that's all I heard about the city of Algonquin to begin with. Before I had no idea where Algonquin was. She said great things about the department. Since my arrival, the chief, Sergeant Ponce, and all officers treated me with great hospitality. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys in the city of Algonquin.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Well, both of them, Officer Gerard is assigned to Officer Johnson as a field training officer. I want to take a minute to recognize him. He just completed field training officer school last week. He did a phenomenal job. I even got the email from the head instructor saying, good Ken. So it was a pleasure to be in class. So just wanted to take a minute, recognize, hey, we're moving forward. We got a great team. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Ready to do the first quarter report?
All right. Here is your first quarter finance report. So in your packets, you'll see the first quarter budget position, as well as the first quarter treasurer report. I'll be going over any significant variances for the first 3 months. If there's any questions, just give me a shout. So here are your fund totals. This is showing our current cash balance in each fund. Here's your account totals. I like to say this every time I do my quarterly report. We want to keep as much as we can in that LGIP, the local government investment pool, to maximize our interest. Moving into all right. So I had a slide here with the revenue. I don't know what happened. So that's the third page of your packets. We brought in just under $600,000 in the first quarter. In second quarter, we'll see quite the increase with property taxes being due in May. We had 241. Let me pull my packet out. We had 241% in the miscellaneous revenues. This does include that LGIP interest I talked about, as well as the rental income for the community center. So far this year, we've brought in $1,400 in rental, and we're hoping to further maximize that revenue opportunity and do more rentals with the community center. I don't know what happened to my PowerPoint, I apologize. But here's our expenses in the general fund. This is still on the first page of the budget position. So we'd like to see about 25%. This is not the right. All right. I don't know what happened to my PowerPoint. This isn't the right numbers, so we're just gonna go off our packets tonight, so I apologize. All right, so we want to see this bottom number at the bottom to be 25% for the first quarter. We always see this first quarter with the annual payments and fees that come out for our insurance, as well as any dues. So we see the AWC annual dues, we see all of our like Lexipol, Planet, all of those come out during this first quarter. So the first line I wanted to look at with you is the legislative line. You'll see it's at 50% for first quarter. We just used a lobbyist to get us some funding for the wetland project, and it was a huge success. We ended up getting $600,000 for the wetland project this year, and they're going to go for more this next coming year. We'll go into that more later on. Yeah. The next is central services. It's at 69%. Like I said, all of those annual costs come out of there for all of our IT services, all of our computer software dues. The next I wanted to point out is the conservation line. This is the biggest. It's at 421%. This line is primarily done for the work done by Natural Systems. They've been working on the wetland preserve, and we had a couple invoices we missed from 22 that we ended up paying.
I had a question on central services. How long does that pay out monthly? Or is that twice a year? Central services, you're short 60-some%.
Yes, so a lot of our annual costs come out of that.
Yeah.
So Lexipol, our bias software can go.
So we're anticipating it going to zero at the end of the year? We're gonna be,
We spent 69% so far.
right,
So
so you have 100% to go. I mean, is that, you know, overshooting that goal or?
I don't anticipate, because normally during this first quarter, we do see it being really high. With central services, it tends to be heavy in the first half of the year and the second half.
It'll balance out by the end.
It does, it really does. And I remember when I was doing this, my PowerPoint and stuff, and I'm disappointed it's not right. I was looking back at my previous PowerPoints from the last quarters over 2022, and I saw the same exact trend where it's high in the first quarter, and it'll level out as the year goes on. Same with the revenue too. You'll see first quarter and third quarter looks really low for revenue, but you'll see it catch up with the property taxes in the second and fourth quarter. Yes, so Natural Systems Design, they didn't get us a couple invoices for 22 until after 23, so we did end up having to pay some 22 costs. Their work is also funded with the Waterworks grant, so it is in the 400% right now, but we're also getting that grant. So overall, the general fund expenditures is at 28.3%. The next one I wanted to look at with you is the street fund. That will be page 3 of the budget position. This one looks a little scary. We have our expenditures at 63% so far. Our revenues may look low, but like I said, we're going to go catch up in May with the property taxes. That's what I was saying. So you'll see the street fund admin and overhead is quite significant with the 54.5. We'll be monitoring this very closely. We have the traffic study going on. We also have a lot of work being done by Gray and Osborne. City of Auburn, they didn't charge us for the last 2 years of street sweeping until this last month. So that hit us pretty hard in this fund. We had the retainage for the last year's CID project, the overlay project. We just released that this last month. So that's another significant hit on this fund. Are there any questions about the street fund? Okay. So the next is...
I have a question, or I have more of a comment. You do expect this to level out by the end of the year, just like...
I'm hoping in past street fund has come pretty close, but I think Russ and I will sit down and look a little more closely and see.
How do they go back 2 years and charge us? That seems a little,
I'm not sure.
30 days, you're done. You know?
Good thing, yeah.
We looked at the contract, and there's nothing in the contract. You generally allow the contracts to have costs, we all charge you. And there was nothing in that contract that protected
So-
us, right?
It's lumped in with the disposal from the Vector truck. So street sweep, they did one MOU for both disposal of waste from the Vector truck and the street sweeping. And there's no clause. It's not our standard contract. It's obviously theirs. What I will tell you is the contract comes due at the end of this year. So we're due to renegotiate. And we'll use our stock MOU that has a bills over 60 days we can dispute if they're not to us by a certain time. So
Might be wise or something, maybe get a quote from some sweeping companies too.
Yes,
I am working on that.
yeah, you jumped right into his report. You're with us. We're here. We're on.
All right. The next one is the Stormwater Management Fund. This is on page 8 of the budget position packet. We do have the annual NPDES subscription costs in the first quarter. So you'll see we're still right at that 25% we want to be for expenditures, but that was the big hitter for first quarter was those, that subscription. The water fund and sewer, so page 9 and 10, they are great examples of, well, really the sewer is a great example of where we want to see all of our funds. We're bringing in more revenue than we're spending, so we received 24% of the revenue and then 22% in expenses. Other than that, that is all I have for you. And I'm sorry, my PowerPoint, I don't know what happened, but
Probably got mixed up with last year's,
yeah, probably what happened.
on the same thumb drive.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And I apologize for getting this to you a little late. I didn't have it ready until I worked on it yesterday.
Anybody have any questions before I move on? Motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion and a second. If any questions? No questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion to approve the consent agenda in a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes. Move to reports. Ms. Brenna?
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Fairway?
I went to the coffee with the mayor on Saturday with Mr. Thomas and just kind of nice. Talked to a few of the residents, got coffee and a bagel,
Yeah.
not on my diet, so it's good.
I like it because I like that, most of the residents that came here, I don't think there was one that had less than 30 years of residency.
Yeah,
Which was really nice. And I thought it was really well.
I was the new.
Ms. Linda?
We met again this week, or last week on Algona Day, and all of the arrangements for all the things that are going to happen, like that alligator lady, and all of those, he has got those all arranged. So,
What about vendors?
vendors can come if they want and set up. There's no charge for the vendors. And, so far, all he knows today is that maybe, a barbecue place and, Mexican restaurant will be the food vendors. And everybody else will be, just one place, pick it and set up.
Do we have an idea how many we're going to have?
We don't know because he's not registered.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you, Linda. Mr. Powell?
I had a few things. Councilmember Cook and I attended the Finance Committee meeting last week, and we had some pretty interesting presentations on a couple of grants that we're applying for in the future. And, one is a grant to possibly replace our bias system that we have now. The new program sounds like it far outweighs the bias program that we currently have. And it's expandable for other modules if we need it in the future. But right now it seems like the current grant now is able to cover everything that we need. And the other grant is a recycling type of grant, which there's a number of things we can do with that grant, and so there's a lot of possibilities with that. So that was the committee meeting we had last week. Also attended the coffee with the mayor, and thought it was rather nice. It'd be nice to see more involvement at some point. But right now, that seemed to be pretty good. And also, I attended the recycling event. Personally used it. That worked out well. They were very nice, pleasant people to be around. If you're looking for a survey or something, they did a really nice job. So we were in and out. Matter of fact, they handled a lot of the materials. I didn't have to hand them anything. They just were reaching in and grabbing it all out.
Perfect.
Worked out really well. So just my part.
Do we have an idea of what they hold off?
Yes, it's tournament.
And that's all I have.
I won't forget you this week.
That's all right.
Thank you, Bill. Russ?
Public works side, we're replacing some storm pipe like 309 north. We had an issue where it was plugged up a little bit. They had 2 4-inch pieces of pipe stuffed into a 12-inch, and it just filled full of sediment and stuff. So we're gonna pull out that 4-inch stuff and make it correct and put a 12-inch in. We continue the cross training with Public Works, running equipment and stuff. We'll probably keep that going on throughout the summer and stuff. On the sewer lift station, we had a broken roll pin that happened on the flapper. It stuck it open. It didn't cause any serious problems. It just makes that pump run all the time. So we did manage to get that fixed, and it's operating correctly. I was asked to look into the urban trail paving because they had stopped at Pacific, and I talked to Martin Fisher actually today. So their plan is to finish doing all of the Algonia in 2024, but he thought he might have enough funding to maybe do a little bit of paving this year. So we're probably talk to him next week and give him some areas that we have some problem areas that he might be able to fix. So.
You might have to come down and look at that whole area between First Avenue and Ellington.
Yeah.
You can't hardly walk on it.
Right. Yeah. So he said he wants to get with us and make get some suggestions on what, if he had some funding, he might try to get some of that done.
Just keep going north.
Right. Street sweeping, I'm working on getting a cost to have a contractor to come to do our street sweeping, a cost to rent a sweeper, and then also a cost to buy a new sweeper. We have 29 miles of road to sweep throughout the whole town. So there is a grant available to buy a new sweeper. But with that, we have to come up with an enhanced maintenance plan first. And there's a grant to get that done also. And then we do that 1 year, the enhanced maintenance plan. Then the next year we can file for a grant for a new sweeper. So those are some of our options on the street sweeping.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Make it anyway. NPDES says that we're gonna have to sweep our street, all of our streets. Because currently Auburn is only sweeping streets with sidewalks, which includes all the little sections that are around town. Curb and gutters, with curb and gutters. And what NPDES wants is they want us to sweep all of our streets. It's gonna be 3 times a year. So that's what prompted us to start looking at it. Well, first that, of course, not being built, that opened our eyes. And then that prompted us to look at having somebody come in and do it, rent equipment, or buying equipment. Anyway, sorry.
I think that's all I got. Unless you got questions.
Any questions for
Mr. Mayor, somebody in the audience has
Hello.
Do we know what the cost is for a sweeper and how much Auburn charged us and how much it costs to have someone come in? Do you have any of those prices yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We know what Auburn charges us to come in. So it's $1 $1.28 an hour, $128 an hour plus 2 drivers. That's what they charge us to come in. It's a minimum of what, 8 hours per day?
If they use 2 drivers, it's 8 hours. If they use 1 driver, it's 16 hours. So, depending on what they have available.
So 8 hours or 16 hours at $128 an hour.
And that's with them only doing it 3 times a year, 4 times a year, where we have to go to, you know.
Yeah.
I think last year they only did it once or twice. So.
Right, and that was just doing the streets of curb and gutter.
Right.
Those trucks run about $400,000. And we're in-depthly looking at all of our options. If we can get the grants and we can get the money that way,
Awesome.
that would make good sense.
My turn.
Yes, sir.
All right, police chief. So I want to start with something that happened in the legislature last night, and my recommendation is the police chief. So last night was the last night of the legislature. The last thing on the plate was to come up with a fix for, it's called the Blake decision. A couple of years ago, it basically rendered all possession of all drugs legal. So they came up with a temporary fix. That temporary fix had a sunset clause of July 1 of this year. So this legislative session, they worked on, bipartisan solutions. That being said, the final vote, the solution did not pass. So what we have is we have other jurisdictions that are currently in the process of recriminalizing certain drugs and public drug use and possession of in public places. If we do not follow suit by creating our own ordinance, then you'll have Federal Way, you'll have Auburn, and then Algona will become a safe haven. And there's already, I walk the trail every day. I don't want the public works crew to have to clean up more drug paraphernalia than they already do. So I asked Zach, our city attorney, to start drafting an ordinance to bring forth in front of this body. I was contacted by the police chief in Normandy Park, who also uses Zach's firm, and asked if his attorney could collaborate with Zach to come up with something that would work for both cities. I said absolutely. So look forward in the next council meeting to see a rough draft of an ordinance, and we can work through our 3-touch rule. But again, I don't care if it's a misdemeanor, a gross misdemeanor. I just want something enforceable that we can enforce in our parks, our trail, in public places. I'm not interested in full-on recriminalization. I just want the ability to keep the park safe for everybody, all our open spaces. So with that, more to come. Training, as I stated earlier, Officer Johnson attended field training officer, did very well. Sergeant Aponte attended some training with the WSP so that he can calibrate and certify a portable breath testers. Also, we had our in-service day last week where we all came together, did our less lethal. It's great to have, David and Hugh at that. Sergeant Aponte, I want to give him a shout out. He's doing a really, really bang-up job of getting these new guys trained. He's also developing a patrol rifle course, something that I kind of put on his predecessor, and we just negated to get her done. But Sergeant Ponte's taking it on. Not only is he taking it on, he's also getting everybody trained up. So vehicles today, we shuffled all but one vehicle up to get new radios. A couple of years ago, there was a PCERN. Don't ask me what the acronym is, but it's basically our new radio network. We're finally at the point where we're swapping out radios, and we're with the new ones so that they're compatible with the new that is at no cost to the city. That's part of that tax that created PCERN, the entity. And so we're in the process of both doing our cars and our handheld radios. We're halfway through our contract with Axon for our body cameras. So today, I spent the morning we got our new cameras in and swapping out the old cameras for the new cameras. Everything's up and running, working really great. Also, cameras at Public Works. We're replacing the cameras at Public Works and we're adding cameras. I don't know if you get an opportunity, by all means, come in. I'll show you our new camera system. All the cameras in the city are getting tied into one system. So the ones at the parks, the ones at City Hall, the ones at Public Works. So it's a really cool system. It's a little bit on the high side, but they last a long time and they're very, very well, like Filipino Hall. So they've been issued a business license. They accepted the conditions that we put on the business license. In fact, right before this meeting, Jessica showed me, they signed the letter, sent it back to us. So the mayor and I met with, Manny, I think, what is he on? He's on the board. And he tried to negotiate some of those. The mayor did a very good job. He stood firm. Nope, 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock, gate closed. So very good job. So knock on wood, we'll see how it goes from here. But they have a business license, they have conditions. We have the ability to shut them down at a moment's notice. So, and if you want to go over the conditions, the gates have to be closing at 10 o'clock. So no event can go past 10 o'clock, everybody out the door. 2, they have to hire security themselves, not rely on the security by the person renting the venue. 3, the people still have to get a cabaret license to hold their event. 4, they agreed to quarterly meetings with us and the community members around the Filipino Hall. And like we expressed to Mandy, hey, we're trying to help you repair your relationship and be a good neighbor, right? Because the easy thing for the city is just to keep it closed. But we want to make everything work. We want everybody to be good neighbors. We want a dialogue. It's really, really hard if everybody's communicating, not to get something worked out. So, knock on wood, we'll see how it goes. But they've accepted the conditions and moving forward. So, City Hall wise, I thought the coffee with the mayor was phenomenal. I had a great time. A little hoarse. Had a real busy weekend. On top of that, it's always great to see everybody, get to know everybody. $600,000, Jessica mentioned it, legislatively. They passed capital budget on Friday. We received $600,000 in the capital budget to start construction on our wetlands park. The plan is and so I want to thank all our legislators in our district. They all signed on to it. They did a very good job. Representative Reeves is the point person for that. Representative Reeves, her plan is to go after $600,000 in the supplemental budget for next year so that we can finish the project. So that will be $1.2 million to the city of Algona. All 3 legislators did a very good job of beating up the budget writers. But you'll see us pretty soon start breaking ground. And when I say pretty soon, by the end of the year, government-wise, pretty soon. But our plan is to move forward and start breaking ground on and getting that park moving. So really, really good news. Spoke to Jack's Barbecue. I know there was some consternation because he had his event during the same time as we had Algona Days. There was a gazillion cars parked up in West Valley. Jack's being the good business owner he is, he's rented out a parking lot. He's going to run a shuttle service this year. And he's coordinated with Gary. He will not be holding it the same weekend as Algona Days. But Jack's, anytime you go in there, it's crowded. According to me, his catering business is taking off out of Algona. He's ready to expand. He's ready to do something up the hill. So it's really good just to sit down and chat with him. But he also said one of these Mondays he wants to show up with barbecue again. Thank you guys for all the support. So, railroad tracks. I know you guys all received an email from the mayor about a possible full closure of Ellingson Road. That the City of Pacific just decided to put it out on social media. Oddly enough, all the construction's in the City of Algona. So I had a very candid conversation with the person from the railroad. Out of that conversation, it whittled it down to westbound traffic only. And they'll be fixing the bumps on the west side of the railroad tracks. I know it's been something that Russ has been trying to get them to do for a couple of months. Oddly enough, they thought it was in the City of Pacific. Oddly enough, City of Pacific's through this transition. Nobody really contacted us. But guess what? We all have direct lines of communication with the railroad and their staff. So what they will be doing, as you saw in your email for the public, they'll be closing down westbound, and they'll push everybody. I think they should have done it today, but everybody should have got punched down C Street today. So should have been very minimal impact to us, and there was. We got no calls. So other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
Are they doing both east and west, or just?
Just the west, I believe.
Yeah, just the
Because
west.
they're both bad. I mean, east is.
No. The plan is to do the east, but they were going to do them both. Let me be clear, but that was nixed. So the first one's going to be the west. They're going to notify us when they're going to do these. And that's going to be a little bit more of a trick. And what I suggested to them is push everybody down West Valley. So.
Chief, I wonder if you can give us a little bit more info on the non-credible threat that happened at Alpaca Elementary School a couple weeks ago.
Sure. So again, we were notified last week of by two of the Pacific officers that they were dispatched to a TikTok that was made by a student identifying several students at Alpac as possible potential victims of violence and had a today's date on it. So we acted like good partners. We took the information down. However, Alpac is in the City of Pacific. It's their investigation to run. If they need assistance, they could reach out to us. But based on the information that I received, I did not think it was a credible threat, but better safe than sorry. Now, like the mayor asked this morning, had that happened in the City of Pacific, Algona, you would have got a Voyant alert. We would have definitely been on social media making parents aware. Is that what you're asking?
No, I just wanted to see if you knew anything more about it than what the school is announcing.
Nope.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I'll try to be brief. The recycling event was a success. So they said they had a steady flow of traffic. They had 261 cars come through. He was still working on getting the final tonnage on how much they received. So we're still waiting on that number. They also were very gracious and helped Public Works with some refrigerators that were dumped in town, and they took those for us. The next event is Fishing Derby in May, so look out for that. Your agendas, your packets were created through MuniCode, our new agenda setting software. So you'll be seeing an email with your own login. Moving forward, we are going to ask that you bring your laptop to council so you can get it plugged into the network and save on some paper and get it right there on your screen. And that's the way we want to go.
Yep. It's a cloud-based system, so you guys should be able to access that system any given time. If you wanted to do a look back and say, hey, what did we pass? It'll be hyperlinked, and you can look back. And eventually, we created a YouTube channel. When Jessica and I get a little free time, we'll get that set up, and we'll start streaming everything via YouTube. So,
Can we get some Cat 5s tomorrow?
absolutely.
Yes,
Yep.
that's on my
With the downloads and all that.
I don't know if any of you were able to look at your packet on the email, but the agenda was actually hyperlinked to the items in the packet. So I thought it was pretty cool. I was nerding out on it, but Chief already touched on the Filipino Hall. I got that email right before the meeting, so we'll get that issued. Voyant alerts. I just wanted to check with council. Have those been pretty successful? Pretty good? Do you have any input? Anything else you want to see on those?
No, I love it, it's great, love to have it, it's good information.
I've started.
I always like more than less, but I appreciate what Chief said too, you don't want to just flood people with every little thing, but I think it's good.
I sent one out today to the staff and called it Jessica Alert because everyone knows it's a Jessica Alert.
Yeah. Yes. Consider yourself lucky. Staff gets them all every day.
No. Being dramatic. But that's all I have. So
Jessica, how many people have signed up for the one?
this morning I checked, it was
108.
108. Thank you. Almost 100.
I do have one question. I'm sorry for making this longer than it needed to be. At some point with this credible threat at LPAC, maybe next time we should put that out, possibly on our going, because our kids in Algoa goes to LPAC as well, so maybe that might give some people a heads up.
If you're okay with damaging the relationship with our neighbors to the south for getting ahead of them, I'm absolutely okay.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, if we're able to get out the same notifications they're putting out.
I have cities and schools from this night, and God, you should be there. I like you, I've got kids in Alpac, and I have some questions for you. You know, and I think that any kind of threat that we have, the family should have been notified right after it happened. And it should have came from the school and the Pacific Police Department. And so I have questions for both Rick Iyer and for, God, when I go to the meeting was tonight, and I'll report back. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Brenda. Did you get an email or a text from the school on that?
I got an email from the principal today.
Just today? You didn't get anything on Friday from them?
Oh, that's,
You should have got some from the school district right away. So I apologize.
No, I did not. Nobody got anything from anybody. And I actually found out about it because, you know, the chief found out the same way. My wife saw it on Algona Community. Somebody posted it on the Algona Community. And of course, I get a text, and the chief found it in the meantime while he was looking. So he knew about it.
And I would ask the principal why you guys didn't get one. I mean, because it should have been sent pretty quickly, I would think, and then the letter.
He did include a letter apologizing that he didn't send out the information.
Okay.
early.
Yeah.
And I think it's a learning experience probably for them as well with social media and threats. But, you know, it's something that I would have liked to have known about or known a little bit more about, which is why I was curious with the chief just being in his position.
Because I worked at Joe Ray for 25 years, so whenever stuff like that happened, our person should be notified us, so. But, yeah, so I was just curious. But as a person, I haven't signed up for the warning yet, but as a person who lives in Algona and had children go to Alpac, I would have liked to have been notified by our police officers, even though Pacific wouldn't notify us, because Pacific notified him, and then his responsibility is to us, not to Pacific
Pacific
necessarily.
never notified us.
They never notified us.
Oh, he
If
never
I-
told you
no,
to get that?
if-
Okay, I misunderstood.
We share a report system with them, and they were chit-chatting on a break with my sergeant. That's the only way we found out.
Okay, that's really poor on their side. So yes, I would have, yeah, so.
So,
If you
no,
find something, just blurt it out.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't
absolutely.
apologize.
can do.
Anything else for Jessica? I'll start my report. In the next newsletter that's coming out in the mail, I did put my little statements about Voya inside it up. So hopefully we'll get more people. I'd love to see. We have 3,100 and we're almost 3,200 people in the city. We've got 108. Come on, folks. I think we just keep pushing it, and convince them somehow. We'll get it done. Jenna, did you were you able to attend the PIC meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you for that. And did you find that interesting?
I did. They did talk about a lot of the legislature that had been being talked about, and it was a lot of the mayors from King County, so it was really fascinating. There was only a few people that didn't have positive things to say, but there were a couple people that had some opinions, so it was really fascinating to hear what they had to say. I'm not going to go into details right now. I'll send Mayor an email detailing the notes that I have. But yeah, it was a fascinating meeting, especially because Sammamish had to say and Issaquah had to say. It was very different from what the situations that we're dealing with.
Thank you. Actually, I think it's a public issues committee, and it's a mayor or a representative from each city. And I've really been working hard to share that information and see you guys, because I act like a representative for the city when I attend, so you know, I need your input. So thank you so much again, brother, because that's a long, it's 7 to 9 o'clock. I know you have kids. On April 18th, I attended our discussion meeting about the Juneteenth. This year, we're gonna do a proclamation recognizing Juneteenth this year, and then next year we're gonna put an ad hoc committee together, and we'll actually do a celebration of some sort. It's just kind of too late in the year to try to get that put together. So that's what we decided to do at this point. So we're gonna come up with a proclamation and present it, and have you guys look at it here before Juneteenth, and go from there. Lieutenant County Council member Big Bowers did eggs breakfast. The speaker was King County Flood Control District Director Michelle Clark. She has some good things to talk about, and probably more interest to Chief in his administrator role was going to talk to her after the meeting. And we got to shake her hand and express the issues that we have here in Algona and that we need help. And she was very receptive to giving her a card and talking to us. So we'll follow up with that and see where that goes. And then same day, we gave the same State of the Union, State of the City speech to the Kiwanis Club, and that was kind of fun. It was enjoyable. I had a lot of good questions from that group. That went over pretty well. And that same night, I attended the Auburn State of the City's presentation by Nancy Backus. Again, that was an interesting meeting, and I picked up a lot of good information. Bring back here, I understand that they have 100,000 people. We have 3,000 people, and they have a little bit more budget than we have. So, probably 400 employees, and we got 26. So it was good information. I thought Saturday, the coffee with the mayor went very well. I was excited that we had that attendance. I think next time we decide to do it, I've decided if we're going to do it monthly or quarterly, or that's a discussion. But I think we'll see more and more people there. So it gets around and go ahead and have a global conversation. So it went pretty well. We're going to start this week. We're going to have a barbecue for the staff. I'm going to start doing. We are going to start doing that the last Thursday of the month. Have the team get together and we have hot dogs and hamburgers, and we'll bring a plate. And, if you guys want to attend, let me know. And that's going to be Thursday at 12. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you very much. Any questions for me?
This Thursday?
Yes. You come?
Probably not, I think I have something else on Thursday.
Probably go see Mike.
I go there every day.
Oh, okay. Move on to audience participation. The City Council encourages public participation during meetings of the City Council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to the City Council on any issue. The Council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You are also invited to comment on action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the City Council. When addressing the Council, please speak clearly, audibly, and state your name and address for the record. Is there anything online?
Nope.
Nope. Yes. Okay, we'll move on. Discussion item. First discussion item will be Blue Line and the comprehensive plan agreement.
All right. Nothing has changed on this. The comp plan is the long-range planning efforts for community development and population growth over the next 20 years. This proposal is with Blue Line to do the comp plan work. The total project cost is $162,000, and that includes the work over 3 years. We do have the Growth Management Act update grant for work for $62,500 of that for this year.
So were we on schedule here?
Yeah, I actually got an email from Caitlin the other day saying that it's a good thing we're at this point because there was just an update with this latest legislation that we have to be added to the comp plan. So luckily they didn't get too far into it where they had to make changes.
So have we seen the draft community vision portion yet?
I don't think so.
No, no.
Because that's due in April this year.
The last one. So community vision.
And the draft community vision, I don't know what the PC and the PC's planning commission should have had it in March. And then, we're supposed to see it in April. And then in May, there was a rough outline of an updated plan. So that's why I asked, are they on schedule or?
Last I checked they were, but maybe they just need to update the proposal and see.
Any other questions? First item, comments? Second, item B is proclamation for Affordable Housing Week.
So I received an email from, his name's Chad, he's with the Housing Development Consortium of Seattle, King County. He sent me this request to proclaim May 7th through the 13th as Affordable Housing Week. I forwarded it on to the mayor and he brought it to you guys and here we are. This year they're focusing on housing equity. So they do a bunch of events during that week for people to attend, webinars. And, I think I put it here in your, no I didn't, I'm sorry. If you go to their website, they have a bunch of events during the week, you can go check it out. So yeah, they're just looking to bring attention to affordable housing. This is their way of getting the word out.
We're one of the few cities that haven't made a proclamation. I wanted to make sure, bring it to you guys to look at and make sure that this is what the council would like us to do.
So seeing how our next council meeting is that Monday of this week, the week of the proclamation, if the council is willing and ready, I think the mayor can do the proclamation next meeting.
We don't need to vote on it, we'll just, as long as they get agreement from everybody.
I've never done a proclamation before.
I think that, I can do a proclamation.
I think this is just informational for the council. Just to let you aware, and if anyone objects, now's the time to say so. If not, the mayor's gonna do a proclamation at the next council.
No new business, no old business, ordinance and resolutions. Resolution A 1255-23, Community Center Advisory Board.
So this is the third touch. We haven't made any changes, and we'll get it in the main newsletter. So it's really on board with it and get it up and moving.
So we make a motion.
resolution 1255-23 for the Community Center Advisory Board.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Ordinance number 1219-23, sidewalk and lieu fees.
This is one we thought about having to change some language in it to put in the dedication of property, but it doesn't appear that we need to because that is covered under the construction standards. It clearly states that upon completion that there's a dedication of property, and then also with that in there's a bill of sale that has to be filled out with it. So they would have to follow the construction standards. So I think it's pretty well set in the way it is.
Zach concurred when I spoke to him today. He also added that we should maintain the past, whatever we've done in the past when we've had people come in and just build their portion of a sidewalk. We should maintain that exact same process, which is what Russ just advised you of. It's in the public works standards that when they come in, they build the sidewalk as currently required, that it's deeded over to the city and there's a bill of sale attached in the public works.
So we're not giving them a choice.
They have a choice.
Okay.
Yeah, they do have a choice.
The way I just heard it.
Yeah. No, they do have a choice.
No. This is just building on our last comment from last second touch, which there was a paragraph that we felt needed to be added talking about once sidewalks are built, that becomes city property. That's all.
Right.
Sorry. More a little background.
They can pay for it if they don't wanna build it, and then we take that, but once it's built, then we get.
Then we do the dedication,
Wherever
correct.
that takes place.
Right.
Whenever that takes place, correct?
Correct.
Correct. You still get the choice in lieu of.
Well, I'll make that motion to approve ordinance 1219-23.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes. Item C is resolution 1253-23, WUE goals.
Water use efficiency goals. So we first saw this back in December, and then again in January, and then we were waiting for Department of Health comments.
To make sure they were okay with how they
Yeah.
work. You're right.
And that's where Ken comes in. Do you want to give more background on it?
Yeah, sure. So I'll probably just run through the comments real quick for both this and the next one, if that's okay. So, as Russ mentioned previously, we got comments both from the City of Auburn and the Department of Health on the draft water system plan. So Auburn's comments were super simple. They asked us to correct a few descriptions of how their system runs and update it because it's changed in the last 15 years. We updated information about the meter size, and meter sizes, and they clarified their water usage goals, which was important because Algona's is built in tandem with theirs. And then for the Department of Health, we updated a bunch of information about emergency response procedures, the emergency contact information, Department of Health, changed in 10 years. We provided more information about the public works staff. We updated the call form response plan. We updated some of the the public works and design standards. They wanted a little more clarification on disinfection of new water mains, so that's all up to their current standard. And so last time you all heard about this, there were still 3 outstanding items, and 2 of those are taken care of now. One was the SEPA checklist, so that's there's some of the threshold of determination, and that's up right now for 2-week comment. Most of the time, no one comments about a water system plan because it's not a project and there's no fiscal consequence. that. And the only outstanding items now with the commission plan are the adoption of these goals and then the adoption of the plan in 2 separate motions. And then after that, we'll send this to DOH, and if they're happy with the comments, it's done for 10 years. So, yeah. If you have any questions about it, happy to talk about it.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1253-23, WUE goals.
Motion and second to approve resolution 1253-23. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ordinance 1252-23, the water system plan. He just went over the second part of that, so you guys are in agreement, just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1252-23, updating the water system plan.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, ordinance 1252-23. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Yes. The next workshop, I think we kind of discussed what we want to have on it, unless you guys have, you want to.
Did we want to do the first meeting in May, have another workshop, or wait till the second meeting? Okay, so I have the playground and parks update.
I wanted to retouch on, we'll get a presentation on this week, but just so we can talk about it and see what's
I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.